aquí andamos. Soy
¿Dónde está?
Mauro en el Camaro. Aquí estamos. Pega.
Yo te sigo.
Yeah, I don't know.
How are you, sir?
Fine.
Well, we're fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So you could start.
Can we have a roll call?
Carlos Blanco. Ricardo Solis.
Yo. ¿Dónde?
Oh, Ricardo Solis.
Ah, está bien.
Margarito Benavides.
Present.
Reinaldo Vélez.
Present.
Luis Ramirez. Ya lo fue.
Thank you. General comments? Any comments by staff?
Not. We're getting ready to, we had our meeting with the city manager's office, went over the budget, presented the picture of how we're doing, what's coming up, things that we wanna work on, and we wanted to give the advisory committee an opportunity to see it. And then things that were is that to maintain our current rate, not to, there's a projected drop down to 3%, I believe. And we wanna maintain it where it is right now, we don't wanna drop it.
I just want to real quickly keep you up to date that I had the privilege of having a little meeting with as a former council member, we had increased the bridge fares when I was there for on the vehicles and trailers, and those separate and apart, but you'll see where I'm coming from. For strictly for street maintenance and you know, and new council, new city manager came into the picture, and the monies disappeared. You know, they went to salaries, trying to or street maintenance would have been there on a yearly basis. After 30 years, we would have had a surplus of monies, right? So then you go back to city council and say, hey, we have a problem with our infrastructure, with the water, whatever. Well, then we can play around with the monies, right? Because we have a surplus. So I think that since we need a secure, so I gave them the idea of trying to see if we could work with council, and that's what I'm putting it before the board, that we need to address that idea. If there would be an increase of the bridge of, you know, revenues, maybe, you know, if it's a quarter and $1 per trailer or whatever, it would be a very good piggy bank for our water source, because we're always increasing, we always hit the taxpayer, right? And you know, we need that we're gonna get on a daily basis, and we're gonna get And, you know, it's not your call, it would be up to us to a little bit more further. But I think that would be something for us to have separate and apart from our. Really help our department,
Right.
you know, and but they need to secure it strictly. If they increase it,
That it be specifically,
I already have the numbers, so if there's an increase in vehicular traffic or, daily basis, it's gonna be strictly for our problem that we have. It's a piggy bank, and we cannot be playing, other cities don't have bridges, and they still do their budgets. And here and they give. You run around and you just don't, it's all about budgets. The only way you're gonna be successful in life, if you budget yourself. So I'm just letting y'all know where I'm coming from, and hopefully you as, you know, as board members, just throw it out there. We just don't want to be going back to the ratepayer, you know,
Right.
but it's an idea.
They might tell you who are back, since I know that general fund relies heavily on the bridge, right? That's how the general fund sustains itself, right? Take up a lot of their budget. I don't foresee them saying, let me get revenues to give to an enterprise fund that should be self-sustaining.
Well,
But it's different because this is water for. This is just money so you get to bring water to the city so that you all can still.
I'm glad you know, the thing is that it's, yes, we're separate and apart, but still, you know, we cannot be going back. And the revenues will always be there. And let me tell you, once you see the numbers, and tell them, you know, guys, and Albert kind of seemed like, it sounds good, you know.
But we only have 2 bridges, right?
But we've got.
No, but. I don't think we get that much money from, I remember I heard something like that, not all the bridges are.
When I say the bridge fund, it's all bridge fund money.
I'm just saying, just make sure that, I was in a meeting where they were talking about that, where all that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
No, but.
No, I'm saying someone was talking about stuff like
I don't
that.
think that's correct. I think
No,
you're
no,
right. Yeah.
But it's an idea, I don't know how you all feel, but I think that it's to protect our infrastructure, to protect. That's what it's all about. So, anyways, that's, you know, that, I wanted to. Didn't want to say much, this is new, but.
well, he's feeling the temperature of the water. Is it gonna get hot? Is it gonna be cold? Our secondary water source, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna be a long-term improvement. And I mentioned that our secondary source can't just be one other source, it's gonna be multiple sources. So we need to have multiple sources available to the city to where it protects our future. Because industry needs to survive, and includes our infrastructure.
And once you have that surplus of money, you know, when you go to loan, you've got the money there, like, you know, it'll help us tremendously for the ratings and everything, so, you know, it's upsetting. Simone was always pounding on the issue of doing something for us, and we ignored that. This stage in my life, I don't want my kids or your all's kids or your grandkids to be at a even a worse situation. Please, and whatever, we'll take it from there. And we'll see where the bowling ball goes.
That ball comes back again, and we try again.
Oh, yeah, but I think it looks very, once they see where we're coming from, they're gonna say, I think that's a good idea, because, you know.
Go to the state, not just Laredo, the state itself, the number of people that are coming in. And one of the statements we always hear at these conferences, they're not bringing their water with them.
No.
To be able to deliver that service.
So, anyway,
Okay.
anyone else with?
Any other comments? I guess,
With you, thank you.
I guess going on to the next item. it's
Yeah,
item five.
yeah.
No, I don't think we
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I read them.
That was too fast. I wanted to inform you all on.
Before you forget.
I was too,
That's
I
all
wanted
bosses.
to, yeah.
Keep
I
going.
would
Before
like
you
to
forget.
ask you all, I would like to approve the minutes for the previous, meeting. Okay, I've got Mr. Reddy is making a motion. Do I hear a second?
Yeah, second.
Yeah. We'll go to, number 5, budget presentation.
Very good. You start?
Okay. We'd like to present the budget presentation of what we presented to city management, but we've made some modifications to it. And so we'll start off with
You wrote it down.
a fair and reasonable cost and to treat our wastewater so it can be discharged in an environmentally sound manner. That's our mission statement, but our overall goal is to obtain recognition. That's something that we're very close to achieving. I feel once we have that, I think the public will hopefully feel comfortable and have more confidence in the utility. We had 14 water system operators that obtained their B license. Okay, this happened in the past year. We replaced 4,080 linear feet of water. Sewer lines. We treated over 20,075 million gallons of water and treated over 7,079 million gallons of wastewater. We put in more gallons for water storage. Our water quality sampling, we surpassed 2,100. The call center to less than 10%. So we've had much higher numbers than that, but those are accomplishments we achieved in this past year. So we're trying to get momentum. Yes, sir.
What's an abandoned culvert?
After we don't respond to calls. And
Oh, I see.
typically we were at a
So like
17%.
responsiveness.
Yes.
Gotcha, thank you.
Million, over 18, close to almost $19 million. In progress, we have over $160 million in construction. In progress.
Well,
Is the workforce. With the skilled labor, I think, in construction right now, there's a shortage. We don't have the skilled labor that we used to have. Happening here in this region, it's happening throughout the whole state and the whole United States.
And you have to mention too. But the salaries are staying the same, so that's something that's gonna happen here, that they have to start paying on the employee laborers over 17, 18 bucks an hour, because they can't afford anything.
Getting very competitive. So that skill set is important.
Can I make a question real quick?
Sure.
I saw
Is it
I
Clay
saw
Bell?
the what?
Is it Clayville?
I don't know, it's a private contractor, but they were out there with the
Yes.
utilities department.
Yes, they were doing, the
System. Because in some areas, since we have elevation changes or different pumps, booster pumps serving different areas, we have to maintain certain pressures.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to put too much pressure in areas where we have agents, so that make sure that they're getting adequate service. So those are pressure regulating valves that we have in our
so you
system.
should have gotten more pressure to.
Remember that
They
group?
adjust them, it's-
Remember that group you guys hired, Nacho, them, they're the they've been doing, the guy that was here last time, he was showing us.
We're doing,
Back there.
maintenance, they're gonna do it, every 5 years you go back and you service all your pressure.
So these are the different. Was it my road? Was it in the my road area?
It was out there behind the.
359, remember the last time you were showing?
Cougar Field.
By Krugerfield. Okay.
Well, that's because I also saw them on,
That trail,
Mhm.
they were out there in different spots.
yes. They're working in that area right now and then they'll move on.
But these are the pressure zones. First by Pico. 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Jefferson one.
There's one that's easier that is just 2 colors, right? But that's how everything kind of south of Del Mar is fed by Jefferson, everything north of Del Mar.
Water conservation, of course. What we want to do is make people, the per capita use, what people use on a daily basis. And that's something that, again, the rate structure will force people to conserve water. So we want to maintain. So it's a fine tuning that we have to do. The other issue is cease the grease. One of the things our wastewater staff has is we make sure we enforce our grease traps, make sure restaurants and food establishments have adequate grease traps, and that they do maintenance. The other thing we do is we assess charges for oil and grease. Deal with. The other thing, toilets are not trash cans. The biggest problem, not only here, but in the nation, are the white.
Not right now.
Here.
I don't have pictures here,
I didn't bring pictures.
but things going to Congress to try to regulate that. Because, yes, they say the other one is backflow prevention. Backflow prevention is a way that we protect our water. Program is a program that we had for replacing high-use toilets, the older toilets that we had out there. To do, but I thought one of the rebate programs that we're looking at is maybe a lawn rebate. With a Bermuda or a different use.
And if you put turf,
Turf, that's another one's even better. I know. Wash it down a little bit.
Yeah, I blow it.
that's good. Yeah, that's all you do, that's all you. Oh, it's 148 feet, just astroturf. I mean, yeah, that's it. I'm tired of throwing water, you know.
You don't have to mow it.
Cash
Nada.
for less, that's what they call it, cash for
So
less.
how do we go about getting the rebate or what?
No, that's something that Vivian will be working on, to develop an ordinance where we give a rebate for people that replace their yards with, say, something that's synthetic turf or a low.
That's the best thing you
Drought
can do.
tolerant.
Everybody loves it at the house, but hey, and I installed it myself. That's what my most summer. I worked yesterday for about 6 hours on it. So I put my umbrella guys and the guys go, hey, you're crazy. I go, well, I want to finish my project. But anyways, it's a good idea, guys. It's long run, it's a benefit.
But one of the things is I also want to work with our PIO department so that we can get this public awareness out there, start promoting it, get people educated on it. And also our schools as far as water conservation, so that they're always, be water wise.
There's one other thing, and I know it's not related to this, but sort of, what you just said. You keep saying that you're trying to become a superior water system. I think I've talked to the PIO about getting that message out as well, because I think it shows people that you are working towards something. And, if we're not in this meeting, we don't know that you all are trying to do that.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea
In
that should be on this list as well.
in fact, PIO right now is getting ready to put a promotional on our consumer confidence report. That's another one that I need to report on to you all. That reports for the last year what our analysis, what our testing has done, sampling, and it shows how we've improved. And PIO is getting ready to do a little presentation that we're gonna be putting out there to let the public.
Yeah, she came out to the
They
plant.
recorded it today, right? They recorded it today?
Yeah, they recorded this morning. And I can tell you just a little brief. So we used to take samples once a day, and we still do take samples once a day at 35 sites. And now those tanks have automatic samplers that report every 5 minutes. Well, just think about how much information you have if I get something every 5 minutes versus once a day. And same thing at the plant. The guys go out every 2 hours, take on these samples. Well, they still do that, but now we have automation that reports back every 5 minutes. So the amount of information that the plant operators have can really tell them what's going on and can we make any changes, are we good? Big improvement.
The communication has improved to where the information gets to us in a more timely manner and we're able to react faster. So we're being proactive instead of reactive. And, but that's something that was not happening before, but it's happening now, and we're trying to even improve that further to where, we have quicker response. And we see it in the trends. Yeah, I plotted out the residual in our chlorine, and you can see the improvement. Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Angie to discuss the numbers.
Okay. waterworks system, at the utilities department, we have two funds. We have water and we have wastewater. This is water only. As you can see, we used to, I'm gonna get closer because it's kind of far. But,
Get a pointer.
well,
Red dot.
so, well, yeah.
It won't work on,
Okay, so you see how the bar, the top two is your revenues, and then the one right underneath there is actually your combined operations and your debt service. We have 38% of our budget goes strictly to pay debt service, which is all the bonds that we sell for our aging infrastructure, right? This is how you have them separated, but then, together, which is what we have to come up with, we generate enough revenues, but if you notice in 2020, we were at 50 million because of the pandemic. And council froze, disconnections, we couldn't disconnect, we couldn't charge late fees, we got penalized really, really bad because of all those, I know it was good for the public, but it hurt us. Feeling the effects, because in 21 they started finally implementing now that you can now disconnect, and you can now, well, with the disconnection alone, it helps, because you disconnect and then they've got to repay to reconnect, right? And we, this year they changed the credit card fees to a flat, I think $1.75. Before it was the percentage of what your bill was. Well, they now tapped into it and said, no, just a flat rate of $1.75. So that's gonna hurt like a little bit, But as if you could see, so our revenues are going up steadily. We're proposing that revenues of 65 million. That is with a very conservative 3% rate increase, right? We do have about 1.5 of growth, and then the difference is just rate. But the rate is scheduled to go down, right? So right now, if you notice, we're at 65 for the proposed, and we have 64.6. We only have a $400,000 cushion between our revenues and our combined debt service and operations, right? So you see how that bar is down, they're almost touching. It's, by decreasing it, then the expenses are gonna exceed your projected revenues, right? So why are they now getting closer? Well, because we have a lot of infrastructure. We just recently sold a bond for like 120 million. Everything is going up in cost. Our chemicals are, I think right now, this year for the proposed, I'm increasing the budget for the water treatment plant by $500,000, and that's not even gonna cut what they're actually spending, right? Right now, I think they're gonna spend about 2.3 million, or that's what they're at right now, and their budget is 1.8. So if I increase it, it's not enough to cover it, but I've gotta stay within my base budget that management says you cannot go over your base budget. You have to stick to they'll increase, other fees, insurances, admin fees, everything, but we have to stay at the base budget of what our budget was the last year. Now, if I have a little bit of cushion, then I'm allowed to kind of go in there and do those requests for like chemicals this year, our meters, we have to replace the meters, so that is why these are now in 34%. This year alone, it went up $5 million because of the bond sale. So what that says is that I will no longer be able to afford to sell a bond if I keep everything as is. So the harsh reality is at some point we will have to go back and ask for a rate increase, but right now, we're sustaining.
Is this where the bridge revenues come in? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it would be great if we had
No,
bridge revenues.
We'll try to work it.
Or, if we didn't pay an admin fee, because every enterprise fund has to pay an admin fee to general fund. I said we pay like 900,000 to tax, because they help us with, collections over there and all that, so it's a lot of money. And then separately, we have to pay an administrative fee to general fund.
So, yeah, so I think, so the operating expenses though, from, you're budgeting that to go up 5.5 million, 6 million bucks? From 23 to 24? So it went from.
Well, no.
From 33 to 33 to 40.
Well, this is a little bit, you can't go from here to here, because this is actuals, estimated actuals. These are actuals, estimated actual. This is a budget.
I see.
So you can't say, oh my God, you're increasing your budget by 6 million, 7. No, it's not gonna work that way. this is a budget, and this is actually,
That's what
estimated.
that's your estimated.
That's my estimated, hopefully I come into there, but right now, I'm not gonna lie,
That's
my,
of now.
it's estimate as of kind of now, but this figure's really gonna go up because my water plant is already driving, you know, we're in the red, we're going towards the red. We have 67% of the year that has lapsed, and they've already spent 82% of their budget in the water treatment plant alone. So that's gonna hurt me because that is a big division and it's a big dollar division. So this may be a little bit understated because at the time that we were doing the budget, you know, but this is not, I mean, I can see where you know, it's a little confusing.
Well, yeah.
But this is a budget, but this is actuals, what we thought, but this probably should be revised. The only thing is I'm not allowed to revise it anymore, because once you submit your estimates to budget, then they kind of stay at what your estimate was, but this is projected to be much higher than what it is.
So then your real budget at the end of the year is probably gonna be,
Probably closer to 40, hopefully, I mean, hopefully not, but, you know, we'll see. We haven't tapped into fund balance yet, which is a good thing, you know, so.
well, I think, you know, I think, sorry, I think that as far as the, like, just looking at the
But these are actuals, estimated, supposedly what I'm gonna finish the year at, but this is my budget. My budget always has to be greater than what I think, because once you establish your budget, doesn't mean you're gonna spend 40 million.
Right.
But it's at least what you're allotted to spend, right? But yeah, I could see where, it caught me off guard too when I saw it originally, cause I was like, oh, I spent $6 million more, and where did it come from? No, this is estimated, but keep in mind, I can no longer go back and edit these anymore, so it looks a little bit off, but this is estimated to go up,
yeah,
so.
sorry.
Oh, yeah. So before 2020, what was the amount before COVID on the, like,
Well, it's been steadily increasing, I cannot, I don't
Okay,
have.
no, I'm just asking.
I mean, I could go back and check.
No, I'm just asking just to see how it was before COVID. And then the other thing about the flat rate, who decided that for you guys on the credit card service? Because it does help a lot, and two, the building permit company still charge you percentage. Three, it's a convenience fee, meaning you could still go pay at the building and not get charged that fee. And that fee's only online, or the fee's also being charged when people
Over the
pay
phone.
credit?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's a convenient
That's-
fee.
it is,
And
but-
also, you guys are paying fees by using the credit card company, so it's not like you wanna charge fees to the people. Company's charging me 6% for using that credit card fee,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
who decided?
Council.
You see, that's what I'm
See,
saying.
council kind of, I understand, council wants to do good for the general public,
Yeah,
which is
but
great, but
common
at the
sense
same
is
time, they're hurting me.
Common
Yeah,
sense-
no,
Well, let me finish first.
No, I know, I was
The
gonna.
common sense comes to play, but the thing is that money's also eating your money. That's $2 here, that's $3 over there, that could have been yours, but now you're paying the company fees, that money.
Well, they kind of did a rate so that, we were not supposed to make money off of credit card fees, right? So they said, you can't make money off of it, so before, we were charging everybody a flat 3%. It was 3% of whatever your bill was, so if you were over $100, we would collect at least $3.
And that's
Now,
if you paid
it's,
online.
now everybody that pays over, like, say, I think it's like $91 is the amount, they get a break,
The
because
building
guess what?
department's still charging that. They charge
Oh,
whatever.
because this rule is just for utilities.
You see, that's.
It's the credit card company, and it's kind of like
Like the PUC, like,
No, no,
it doesn't allow you to charge or more than what I guess you're paying, so therefore they brought it down to a flat
it's
fee.
a flat fee.
But
So-
it's kind of not correct, because what I collect and what I pay, that's not my total cost. How about all the handling that we have to do and the people involved? So
Ian's.
Yeah.
That's why I was gonna go back to what you're saying, and I'm supporting you.
Why does milk cost
You know,
$5 at
So hold
Starbucks?
on, Big Luke,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna go back to what he's saying, you know, it's, at the end of the day, it's all about the service. And if I'm not gonna go and stand in line, and I'm gonna use the online or whatever, you know, and I'm gonna use, we still need to be protected. You know, it's at the end of the day, cause you go to tax office, they charge you that 2%. Or you go, anywhere you go, the minimum is 2%. You know, and it's not that we're making money, it's just we're providing you that service. at the end of the day, you know.
All the
but-
restaurants do. And the people that get that, during COVID, that don't get, man, they all got more money than we did, the ones that were working. You know,
I'm sorry.
they've never made that much money in their whole life, and now they're getting paid by the government.
Okay, but no, I have a question regarding
US citizen.
the 50 million, 2020, you know, we lost money, and did we ever collect any monies, or some people paid, some didn't pay?
Oh, we still are owed a lot of money. It's like, our delinquency rate is out of this world
No,
because.
but I'm getting back to that year because of COVID.
Well,
You know,
because of COVID.
because of the council that
Well,
said.
I think-
we're
You know, offset some of the losses, but,
I shouldn't have paid my bill.
huh? Well, we had the COVID relief fund.
That's my
so-
question, like, people that didn't pay, whatever happened?
No, there's.
Well, they're still out there.
They're still
They're
doing
still
it.
not paying, because I'm telling you, our delinquency
They're
rate
testing the
before
water
the
as far as
pandemic
they
was about
can.
600,000. It's now at $4 million. And so we have a lot of people, and we have one, we have a lot.
Yeah,
Like, I'll give you an
nobody-
example. We have one that comes and he complains because he owes $7,000, right? He owes $7,000.
He never
But
paid.
why? Because,
Right.
because what was happening was, what did everybody do? They stopped paying.
They just stopped paying.
Everybody stopped paying. A lot of people did, right? But guess what? Well, guess what? Now those people are like, oh, they gotta go on a deferment payment plan, and so now we didn't forgive the amounts that were owed. So that's the difference, right? But it didn't help the council implemented it because there was no incentive for people to pay their water bill. They paid everything else, but they didn't pay their water bill.
Yeah,
So-
they couldn't pay a $30 bill with their iPhone.
Yeah. So, I mean, phones are still there, phone company will automatically disconnect you regardless of pandemic or not, right? Maybe the electricity had little programs in your bills that
So how
said,
much money, I'm sorry, how much money did we get from COVID? Back then, do you want to know the ballpark figure?
I don't remember, but COVID came in, and then so what happened was, as long as they met certain criteria, we would pay their bill with the COVID funds that we got. So we were still collecting some monies, but I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember how much in total it was.
Yeah.
I think it was about, was it $1 million?
Yeah, over a million.
It was over $1 million.
There was some programs that were used to help pay some of these were paid, and the county is still paying some of these outstanding debts. So there's still programs out there, it's just everything is catching up. And then we need to collect on those that don't qualify, and we've got those on payment plans. And hopefully they'll continue to pay. Then those will be addressed. And I know I've had cases where there's been medical hardships.
Yeah, I
People
understand.
that- So it's just, I take it on a case-by-case basis, but it's one that the delinquent accounts has grown, and now we're going more aggressive this last quarter.
Okay, cool.
So
Thank you.
we'll collect more.
Thank
You
you.
wanna click that? So the next slide is, now you're, no, go. Now this. Low rate at one point, but now it's got, when the pandemic, when we did our rate study back in 2018, sewer was supposed to charge way more to catch up. But guess what? Pandemic hit, and the hit was gonna go to the commercial accounts, right? The biggest increase was gonna go to commercials. I think they were gonna be charged like 20%. It was a huge increase, right? But because everything was closed down, we didn't capitalize on it. So it didn't pan out as well as we thought it would. But sewer is still at a point where we're not as close to the line as it is in water. Why? Because boil water notices affect your water. We have a lot of aging infrastructure. Sewer has less infrastructure that affects your everyday, stuff, but water is, you've got lines and, I mean, you'll see crews fixing. You need to put money into your wastewater treatment plant or your lift stations, your collection systems, but not sewer lines. It's very rare when you see us. So, so sewer right now combined, it helps water when we present it as a whole, but I separated it so that council can see, because if I combine them, then the gap is there, and council's gonna say, well, no, you're okay, you got a cushion. but the cushion really doesn't exist because they're two totally. We're having to increase the fee that sewer now pays the water so that we can help offset some of the increases that we have on the water side. Because, water's just, really going up there. So, if you see the expenses on sewer, they're not as great, but because we only have 2 divisions in sewer. We have 8 divisions in water.
Andy, the debt service between 23 and 24 is flat, actually comes down a bit. Does the 24 include the tunnel and
No, but it's not, yeah, but we sold the bond in 2020, I believe, for Manadas, and then the tunnel was already incorporated in the
So it's
last.
already factored in?
It's already factored in into this,
Okay.
so it.
In this budget, do you guys foresee stuff like, say like you already did the line, what guys, in 5 years or 6 years from now, this other parts are gonna have to be rehab, is that already
We have a
considered?
CIP program, right?
And the C-
And so the
CIP,
CIP is what kind of really drives the rates, right? Because the CIP is pretty much what is everything that I have to. But just if I drop the numbers in from last year to this year, like the ones that didn't get done, and then what's up until 2028, it's at about 588 million. Well, guess what? I can't afford it. But in order to afford all those
To get there.
improvements, we're going to for as much as nobody wants it, we will have to increase rates at some point. Because that increase my debt service.
And also the emergency stuff, like say, hey, last year we spent, in emergency work, we spent so much $1 million. Is that predicted or increase on the budget the following?
No, because the way our budget works is I have to stick to my base budget. Every division has to stick to their base budget.
Even though you have the
So
this
even though
previous.
my base budget, that's why, the superintendents kind of get a little bit antsy with me because they're like, I need more money. Well, I understand you need more money, but I'm only given so much. If I only have $10, I can't give you 20. I only have $10 to work with, and that's it. So we have to make miracles happen.
See, that's what I'm saying, like, in 3 years, I'm showing you, I've been spending 10 million every year in emergencies that we cannot predict.
At the water plant, that you helped out in back in January, February, that killed their budget. Because
That's what
they
I'm
were
saying.
working round the clock to fix that, what is the pipe or
The raw water
the raw,
intake.
yeah, the raw water intake that, gave out. It was old, but it killed their budget because they had a lot of overtime, the material. These are not projected expenses, so I can only work with what you have. And guess what? So if the water plant is over budgeted, I've gotta now borrow from my other divisions and hope that they don't spend so I can cover, because it's one department.
And who decides that also, that you have to talk about water. So be like, hey, so let you know, we need emergency money because.
Well, it's like, for example, so we went to city manager and said, okay, this is my base budget. Because budget is very good about saying, okay, just for simplicity purposes, your base budget was, my control. Admin fees, bank service charges, insurances, personnel, they take all of those out and they say, okay, you have to stay within your budget. Now, it depends. I stick to my base budget, and then you increase your line items to me, right? Because the charges for INET, the charges for communications, vehicle maintenance, the whole works, all the internal service funds will charge me. Plus it generally factor all of that in, right? So then, once all of those numbers are dropped in, this is how much it increased. I have no control over those increases, but they don't hold it against me in my base budget, right? Expenses, then they'll say, well, if you want to get some more money, expenses in there, you can, but you got to stick to I got to make sure I balance out. So this year, what I have to do is I have to move things chemicals, which is right now beyond control. So, there's no way I could, I mean, I gave them $500,000, but is it gonna cover their expenses for next year? No, it's not enough. So I already know that I'm gonna have to have certain reserves within other accounts that will not be used so that I could transfer over. Because at the end of last year, they're operating at about 11 to 12 million dollars, the water plant. And this year their budget is 11. So do the math. I'm operating, my expenses last year were, because I had to borrow from other.
What's their budget or who does their, because you said that last year was 11.
Because we have to stick to the budget.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but like, you instead of, you know what I'm saying, like.
No,
It's because it's,
No, I know.
we can't go to city manager and say, we can't, I mean, the budget is there. That's why we come up with these actuals and everything, right? And we say, look, they're spending this much, but we don't have a choice. You have to stick to your base.
Last year they spent how much?
I think they were close to 12.
Okay, and then this year they're saying.
Their
more
budget is 11.
11.
Well, you see.
11 or
We're
11.
gonna be at 12, close to 13 million.
Yeah. So what's happening
Well,
is.
that's what I'm saying, is
No,
like,
it doesn't make
all the
sense.
city
How
council
much,
members.
how much money do you guys have
Water is
to
number one.
send back to the general fund?
No, we don't send money back to the general
So
fund.
you guys all say
Whatever, if we have a surplus at the end of the year, it goes into our fund balance.
Okay, you guys
Because
don't share.
we have fund balance. In reserves because of the financial advisors, like the bond rating agencies.
Operations,
Yeah.
operations.
There's so many reserves that I have to meet, and then the difference is fund balance, but it's all mine. If I have a surplus, it stays in utilities,
You
it
guys
doesn't go to
don't-
general fund. General fund charges me a fee based on what I generate. So for example, if I generate normally 40.
You can negotiate that percentage and maybe
Oh,
that
I'm
can help through the.
Believe me, I
No, but these
Believe
can
me, I am a
be,
big advocate.
these people can be your advocates, or these
That's
gentlemen,
what I'm
and
saying,
then
every city
they.
council member here, that's all they talk about, water, and
Well,
I'm.
guess what, if I give general fund less money, streets, all the general funds
But we all
will
live
be
by
earning.
water.
But yeah,
So
we have
My
water.
philosophy is put cost where it belongs. If it's the tax rate that needs to be increased, that's where your cost is.
I mean, you're showing proof, this is how much we need to operate, we're telling us we can't show you that, well then, what's the whole point of the budget?
The thing is that there's something wrong with.
With the parties?
I think we're getting into something that we have no control.
No, it's something that we need to talk about
But you
because.
see, there's a problem over there, and. We can because we represent our council, man. And
But we have no power.
Well, no, but we can address it to them.
We can,
And,
bend their ear.
and this is where I'm coming from, that's why I've been trying to do what we need to do as. At the end of the day, he's right, they hear from the people, the water, and my biggest concern is our water source and our infrastructure. So if we could do something that will help us out on the long run, I think that, and Big Lou, he's where I'm at, and we're looking at numbers, we're looking at a lot of things, but we need to address it with the council members. We need to address it, because we do have a problem. Not right now, well.
The seed that we're planting, what kind of seed do you wanna put in it?
Yeah,
I think for the short run, what we need to kinda ensure is that our council members go along and maintain the same rates, right?
Go to the next slide.
Right.
See, all we need to do is have you all
And use for
educate.
that.
That's all it is, you're going backwards.
Does it go backwards?
Okay, so, let me have one more slide and then we'll get to that, right? So this is what we're estimating to collect, but this is what I'm hoping I can collect next year, right? So these are your bar graphs for just strictly revenues, both water and sewer combined. So every year, the budget is in yellow, and if you notice in 2020, and I didn't make my budget, whatever we, In 2021, I got closer because we started implementing everything else. Finally, in 22, I surpassed it. 2023, I'm hoping to surpass it, and then hopefully, well, this is where we have to be very conservative and hope that my conservativeness is good, because then that means I keep, you know, I make more and I can cover my expenses, right? Go to the next slide. And then these are your proposed expenses, just to kind of give you an idea of where the majority of our expenses, it's in debt service, right? So personnel is only 22%, and then contractual services are 26%. You might say fees to general fund, the fee, since it's both water and service.
Increase
combined,
those,
you know,
increase those.
Good engineers.
These are not actually
I don't
what
have a
they
copy
pay
right
you.
now.
Whatever they pay you is usually through the bond. This is strictly operations. We don't usually hire contractors through operations except point. But some of the line items a lot of line items are in contractual, that's why this is a little bit higher. But we're very debt heavy. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. This is increasing every year, and it will continue to increase. And I know a lot of people say, well, I know George Alkin goes in there, he goes, you have to stop charging the credit card. Well, if I don't charge on my credit card, I will.
No,
Yeah,
George
George
Alkin.
Alkin.
Alkin. Got a lawyer to
You
get
know,
through.
he kind of goes in there and whenever we have budget presentations, he's like, you all have to stop issuing debt. A city will never be debt free. There's no way. If you're debt free, that means.
It's supposed to be at 30% at the credit card company.
Well, so go ahead and click on the next one. So this is what we need from you guys today. Y'all can't vote on anything here, but you just need to educate your council member to say, we need to maintain the existing rate of 5% for water and 6% for sewer. Right now, it's projected to decrease to 3% for both, so it would be a drop of 2% for water and 3% for sewer. And if we drop the numbers, you're looking at least about a $2 million drop in revenues. I can't even function, I have to stay within my base budget, but I would drop $2 million if they drop come October 1st.
And this is gonna be what?
This is gonna get presented during budget time, but if council has already become familiar with it, understands it, then they will agree to it, as opposed to saying no, because I don't really wanna be the one that increases the rates for my constituents, because that is, I understand, they're there and
But
they
you're
want.
saying that this is what the rates are now. We just
The
wanna
rates are
maintain
currently
that.
5 and 6.
Yeah, so we just wanna
So all we're
maintain
saying
that.
is, let's just keep them at 5 and 6, because,
And the thing is, dude, it's life, dude. Everything. Go to HEB with $100 than you went 10 years ago. It's not the same anymore.
Well, but
2 months
why,
ago.
2 months
why
ago.
bring up the issue of, it's gonna drop 2%?
I have to, because
It's in the
it's
ordinance.
in the ordinance already. It's already programmed.
Oh,
When
the
we did
ordinance
the rate
has-
study,
That's all it is.
it already incorporated that, in this year's, you would be at this rate. I need to make sure it doesn't drop, because then we're gonna hurt. And if I hurt, then you know what? Operations have to be cut back. We will have to
Now
scale
here's
back.
another stupid question. How'd that happen, the ordinance, to give you those rates? Not
It was
knowing-
part of the
I mean,
rate
that goes,
study.
that was a rate study that was done a
It's-
long time
Yeah,
ago, right?
there was a rate study done,
2 years ago.
Back in
2016?
2018.
Oh,
But
yeah,
budget was
2018.
finalized in 2018, but
That's
the reason we
cool.
had
Well,
that way.
it was based up, it was a projection.
And it was based on the CIP that existed back then. Remember, I mean, you have a
That's
CIP.
just we're
but you
predicting
don't-
my girlfriend, she's gonna expand next year and the year after that, and that's not gonna happen.
what would happen if you didn't do this? Then you're gonna, next year, you're gonna do a rate study, and the because you got behind,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to jump, and that's what happened. You look at our rate study, what was the first percentage?
It was a really high, like, I think commercials like 15-20%
Yeah,
for the.
yeah, so the
because
first year, it was
wasn't
a, we gotta catch up quick, everybody got a big hit, and then it stuck at 5 and 6, 5 and 6 for the next 4 years, and then dropped to 3. If you don't do this, you're just postponing, kicking the can down, and then the rate study's gonna say, oh, guess what, guys, it's gonna be 14%. you know.
14%.
But the first year, and then we'll level back out at 5 and 6.
But you never will.
But you see, that's what you need to say at city council, right? We need to, you know, because.
Do the last rate study and show exactly what happened. Say, okay, we postponed,
Yeah.
and the first year, the rate study, look what we all
We
bit.
could do that.
We all bit the,
During the COVID.
advantage of the rate study because it was COVID, nobody, and that was something that was unpredictable, right? So COVID hit, everything got shut down, so guess what? They're not using the water, I can't bill it, so I was gonna bill at 15-20%, because they were closed. So I didn't get my revenues, so that, and then the next year, boom, the rate dropped. So I never took advantage of the increase in the rate study that was meant to be there and then continue.
So then do you think when the rate study, the next rate study comes back around, it's gonna jump back up again?
Well, it would have to, because our CIP is only getting larger and larger.
And you saw the increase of our expenses.
Yeah, add inflation, the cost of materials, plus the demand.
I used to pay for a bucket of chlorine 89, 95 bucks, now it's at 249.
I was gonna say chlorine has gone up 40 to 60%
So, I mean,
with us. It's
I
crazy.
think that, you know, what we all see in our lives and the inflation in and of itself should be justification for keeping it the same. We need to
At
just,
least keep it
we
the
keep,
same.
at least keep it the same. We need to kind of lean on that with our council people, but, you know, yeah, the good thing is it's not an increase, we're not looking for an increase. It's just, hey, let's just maintain.
Just maintain.
Which would be a revision to the
Now,
ordinance.
I will say this, that once we finalize our sewer master plan, to our financial consultant, it is gonna need another increase.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
may,
you're looking at-
tell you this is not gonna be, it's not gonna do it, but that's another year, and at least holding it at this.
Yeah, but that's another,
It's another battle.
that's another battle, but
Yes.
that's another issue, it's another topic that creates that battle. You know, right now, it's just keeping this
Yeah.
status quo.
Cause if they don't do this, then the battle gets even worse.
Correct.
That increase is gonna be bigger.
But that's all, I mean, that is a motion that we are gonna go during budget time, but I know we have to be prepared to argue that because they're already kind of educated by the time we come in and try to explain it all over again, because a lot of times they don't understand, right?
I'm very happy that, I'm very happy that we have a board that sits here and it's very understanding of our needs, future needs, and, you know, this guys, I think, you know, we will come through.
No,
Let me ask you, us as a committee, can we vote on like a recommendation that you can present to them
That would be-
to the meeting? You can say, we already discussed this with the committee, and they're recommending that it stays the same. I mean, we'll talk to them individually.
Let me have a
but-
suggestion on that.
We don't have-
I mean, would Councilman, or Chairman, committees have done right before their, say the bridge board committee, or they put an agenda item on the council meeting, on a certain council meeting, that could be the one right before budget. Then you guys go with your recommendations based off of everything that you've heard and the goals that you would like
Piggyback off of that.
the utilities department to achieve, and what motions you would need or what you would need approved in the budget cycle. And that's what they've
No,
done.
Rick,
Thank you, that's a good idea.
yeah, Rick was asking a question about our authority, I guess. It would just be, if we did vote on something, it would just be a recommendation.
Right, no, that's
But
what I'm
then
saying.
kind of the second question that you're making me think about that is, if we do make a recommendation, does it come from your department to council, like, hey, my committee recommended this? Or is there some other avenue to get that?
After we talk to our city council members.
Well, yeah, and we would have to do. Or how does it get back to council?
Well, what I would present to them, I know the minutes from here would show the recommendation, and that would go in their Friday packet.
Gotcha, okay.
The other one would be during the budget presentation, I could say, I did present this budget to the advisory committee, they're aware of it, and I'm sure that they discussed it with their representatives. And, I'll the rate.
To keep it.
But they also bring up you guys, so anyone council member can receive.
At the budget hearing or council meeting, y'all can be there.
Talk to all your city council members, what's going on by the next meeting, so we can have.
When is budget?
When is budget now?
It's gonna happen sometime in August.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
Budget-
saying, by
budget
next
areas
meeting,
are not-
So we've got maybe one
Let you
more
know
meeting.
with,
I just,
we can still write to us that you've talked to them.
oh, no, definitely, I'm gonna meet with them this week.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Release, we could make a
That sounds
motion,
good.
we can make a motion to, almost kind of what's worded there,
Right.
so that it becomes out
I
on
mean-
record that we've already done it.
Yeah, no, it's, your call.
Yeah, cause we're a committee, and, you know, we're just following the Roper Rules of Order, and we take it from there, and then, like you said, you know, you make the presentation, and this is what the committee voted on, and they just wanna maintain it, so if you wanna make a motion.
Or do you wanna wait until next month so you
No,
can?
no, I'm saying just talk now.
Them, or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
After this.
And then you all can make a motion.
Yeah, then we can make a
Yeah,
motion.
that's in the following meeting.
Right,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Marcy now,
Right.
she's agreed, or he's
Yeah, and you
agreed.
can bring back any issues, if they bring up.
Or any comments that they
Any
may have.
comments,
Right.
yeah.
And
That's a good idea.
And then be prepared.
And cross your fingers that they will. We advise, that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens beyond that point,
Oh, I
We
could,
don't
I
know.
could go
But
beyond
that's what
that
it's
point.
for, so that you educate them. It's
yeah,
my- we're such an
that's what I
educator.
mean. We get ideas, we submit them, and we hope they accept them.
Mr. Rodriguez,
That's
rules,
positive.
That's it.
Mr.
That's
Rodriguez,
it.
rules were meant to be broken, so anyways.
Yeah.
About the general fees, because you heard one number, and it's kind of, we pay 900,000 to tax because they help us collect some money. So there's an argument, well, we get legal help, we get things from the city, we get HR. We get a good deal.
Yeah.
Or we're getting a value for our money. We have no way of checking because we're just told, this is what your fees are, this is what, you know, it's like when you go shop, you get to go pick.
You should.
We don't get to pick. This is who we use, this is what we get. And so that's really the, how do we check that we're getting, that what we're being charged is a good value?
No, it's on. Somebody answered.
Yeah, if it's you, then we're not subsidizing them. The question is, what's the right number?
Okay. Any, I'm sorry, anything else?
No, I think that was the last one.
Last one.
That was it.
Okay,
It hasn't changed in a long time, I know we have more than 200.
That's the one that before the census?
No, I think the census has us at like.
When I was in high school.
Been like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's been like that since I was a
When I was
kid.
high school, it's 65,000.
communications.
65. Communications. Imagine the cheeseman back then was 600.
Siglos para atrás.
The Eagle Pass resolution, that's something that's going to council. They're asking if they want to put it up in the June meeting, but I'm gonna push it till July, maybe later. Because there's some issues that I have with that.
Yeah,
What was that again?
It's regarding,
Eagle Pass already passed a resolution?
they want to join in a resolution, but it's committing too much to them. And I, like I said, I'm interested in having multiple sources.
No, they want us to get it from them.
So,
They want us to get it from them.
Yeah, so-
Help me pay for water to get water.
so no, so the thing is, we got together.
From
Where
Encino.
does, where does Encino get the water?
Groundwater.
I heard a rumor too, that Encino to Laredo. Over there, so.
Well, the legacy water supply. And that's gonna be, if it's successful, I wanna have an interconnect. It's a ground.
Yeah, let me have information. Do you guys know how ships get their drinking water? It's a very simple process.
Who?
They use
You
our
have to
water.
pay that 6%.
No, they use our
own.
water.
So you could do the same thing with the river water. Boil it, steam.
If you have
But
water
does it meet
rights,
TCEQ standards?
Hmm?
But does it meet TCEQ standards?
and you have
Anyways, okay, any other communication?
But that's the way they do it.
Okay, what's the topic for next meeting?
what we discussed. A second source, because that's all they've been asking
Secondary
for.
source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other information regarding that?
Wasn't Mr. Belmares gonna make a presentation like specifically on
Yeah.
that?
Just kinda thought it was
Oh,
important to
for
do the
the-
budget,
oh,
to
yeah.
kind of share it with you
No,
guys.
no, this is more,
No, this is-
important, but he's saying it where we're like,
Yeah.
We'll do it in layman's terms.
like when you gave your thing, remember? I said-
Hey, what do you?
I was like, guys, you
That was
ain't
easy to
supposed
follow
do this.
on my head.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Los que se quieren quedar, you all stay home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.